There's a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from what you did today, but from what your brain's been trying to survive all along. You lie in bed, lights off, silence around you, and yet your thoughts are louder than ever. You're revisiting conversations, rehearsing explanations, replaying something that happened days, weeks, even years ago. You scroll your phone to distract yourself, put it down, then pick it back up 5 minutes later. You close your eyes hoping for peace, but instead your mind reopens another file. Another what if? Another what did they mean when they said that? Another did I mess that up? You call it overthinking. Other people might say you're overanalyzing. And maybe you even believe them. Because the truth is, it's exhausting to feel like you're the only one who can't just let things go. But what if I told you this isn't about being dramatic or difficult or broken? What if your brain, right now, in this very moment, is trying to protect you? Not from danger in the outside world, but from the emotional uncertainty inside your body. What you call overthinking is often your mind's attempt to feel safe. It's scanning for patterns, not because it likes chaos, but because it craves control. It's reviewing every interaction, not to punish you, but to avoid repeating past pain. It's preparing for conversations that haven't happened yet because somewhere deep down, a part of you doesn't fully trust that you'll be okay if things go wrong. And that part of you, it's not weak, it's wise. It learned to be vigilant. It learned to forecast threats. It learned to micromanage the emotional landscape because too often no one else did. Maybe you grew up in a home where emotions were unpredictable, where people said they were fine but slammed doors, where love came with conditions. If you behaved well, pleased others, stayed small. Maybe your body still remembers what it was like to walk on eggshells, and maybe your brain remembers too. So now, even in safe relationships, even when things are okay, you can't stop thinking. Because you were never taught how to feel safe without first preparing for everything that might go wrong. This is not a flaw. It's a strategy. And like all strategies, it had a purpose. It helped you survive. But survival mode isn't supposed to last forever. And yet, here you are, years later, still holding your breath for a threat that might never come. Let's talk about why. The human nervous system is designed to protect us. When your brain perceives threat, whether physical or emotional, the amygdala is activated. It sends out signals to prepare your body, raise the heart rate, narrow the attention, shut down the slower, reflective parts of the brain. That's why you get stuck in loops. That's why it's hard to make decisions, or stop thinking, or just relax. Because when your nervous system feels unsafe, your brain believes thinking is the only way to solve the discomfort, even if the discomfort is coming from nothing more than an old emotional imprint. The problem, the more you try to think your way into safety, the more anxious you feel. You spiral, trying to find answers that don't exist. You look for clarity in places where ambiguity is normal. Relationships, texts, social cues, plans. You try to control everything so nothing can surprise you, but you end up never feeling present. And people might tell you, just stop worrying. Just be in the moment. Just let it go. But none of that helps if your body doesn't feel safe yet, because safety doesn't come from logic. It comes from connection, it comes from co-regulation, it comes from knowing deep in your nervous system that you're not alone, that you're not under threat, and that you're allowed to pause. So let's reframe this. You are not too much. You are not broken. You're not crazy for thinking in loops. You're someone whose brain has done an extraordinary job trying to keep you safe for a very long time. And now it's tired. Tired of being on guard. Tired of preparing for the worst. Tired of scanning for approval in every conversation. Tired of apologizing for simply having needs. So what's the way forward? Not by silencing your thoughts, but by listening to what they're really asking. Because beneath every overthought message, every delayed response, every sleepless night, there's often a small, quiet voice underneath it all. Will I be okay if this goes badly? Will I still be loved if I get this wrong? Is it safe to stop thinking now? The healing doesn't begin by fixing the thoughts. It begins by answering the voice underneath. Yes, you will still be okay. Yes, you are still loved. Yes, you can stop bracing now. And if your body doesn't believe that yet, that's okay. We'll teach it, gently. You've spent so much time living in your head that your body doesn't know what calm feels like anymore. Stillness makes you suspicious. Slowness feels unfamiliar. Even happiness comes with a shadow, a voice that says, "Don't relax, it might not last." That voice is old. It's not the voice of reason. It's the voice of survival. It was shaped in moments when you were left out, misunderstood, rejected, blamed. Moments when no one explained, and so your brain filled in the blanks with self-doubt. Moments when love was given but then pulled away, when you were punished for being too loud, too sensitive, too honest. And your nervous system learned, if I stay ready, I won't get hurt. So now you stay ready, even when no one's attacking you, even when things are good. You think harder when you're supposed to rest. You analyze more when things feel calm, because calm never used to mean safe. Calm meant something's coming. That's the damage that no one sees. That's what's hidden inside the phrase, "I just overthink everything." You don't just overthink, you overguard. You overfunction. You carry the emotional labor of every room you walk into. You apologize for things you haven't done wrong. You explain yourself even when no one asked. You check in on others but forget to check in with yourself. You imagine disasters and then call it being realistic. You rehearse loss in your head as a form of emotional insurance. Because if you lose something you already imagined losing, maybe it won't hurt as much. But it does. It always does. Because living in anticipation of pain doesn't prevent it. It just robs you of peace in the meantime. So what would it look like to live differently? What would it feel like to be safe in your own body? Not just logically safe, but physiologically safe. Where your breath is soft, where your shoulders are low, where your chest doesn't feel like it's holding back a wave, where your stomach isn't in a knot every time someone says, "Can we talk?" Safety isn't something you think yourself into, it's something you practice, moment by moment, choice by choice, and it starts in the body. Try this. The next time you feel the spiral beginning, the overanalysis, the heart rate rising, the loop you can't escape, don't fight it. Don't try to logic it away. That's just more thinking. Instead, breathe. Deep, slow, steady. Inhale for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Exhale for 6. Place your hand on your chest. Say aloud or in your mind, "I'm here. I'm okay right now." Repeat it like a lullaby. Notice the floor beneath you. Feel the weight of your body being held. Let gravity remind you that you're not floating in chaos. You are grounded, physically, here. This sounds simple, but it's not easy. Because when your brain has lived in high alert for years, peace feels threatening. Peace feels like weakness. Peace feels undeserved. But that's the lie your trauma taught you, and it's time to teach your body something new. You don't have to earn rest by fixing everything first. You don't have to earn kindness by being perfect. You don't have to solve your life before you're allowed to enjoy it. You can rest now, even with the thoughts still running, even with the fear still flickering, even with the mess not cleaned up yet. You don't need to feel safe to rest. You need to rest to feel safe. Let that settle, because so many of us have it backward. We think we'll rest once the anxiety goes away. But anxiety only eases when the body learns rest is allowed. We think we'll stop overthinking once we have clarity. But clarity only comes when the brain isn't under pressure. You've been waiting for the external conditions to align before you let yourself pause. But what if the conditions are never perfect? What if the pause has to come first? Start small. Close your eyes for 30 seconds without trying to fix anything. Drink a glass of water and feel it going down. Say no without justifying it. Let a text wait. Let a silence be silence. These are acts of defiance in a world that rewards overthinking and overdoing. These are the first cracks in the armor. And yes, your brain will panic at first. It will say, "We're missing something. We should be doing more." Let it panic. Then keep breathing. Because healing doesn't happen when the mind finally quiets down. It happens when you stop believing it has to lead everything. Your body carries wisdom too. Your breath knows things your brain has forgotten. And your heart, underneath all the noise, is still beating a rhythm that says, "You're here, you're safe, you can stay." There's a quiet kind of healing that doesn't announce itself. It doesn't look like epiphanies or perfect mornings. It looks like waking up and realizing you didn't spiral last night. You still had thoughts, sure, but they didn't drag you under. You noticed them, you let them float past, and you didn't treat every one like an emergency. That's what safety feels like, at first. Not loud, not dramatic, just possible. And as strange as it sounds, it might feel boring. Because for a brain used to high stimulation, to adrenaline, to running mental marathons every day, peace can feel like nothing. But that nothing, that stillness, that unfamiliar quiet, it's actually presence. It's actually safety. And you are allowed to feel it, even if you don't know what to do with it yet. The mind will still try to pull you back into control, into questions, into overanalysis, because it thinks safety lives in certainty. But real safety lives in flexibility, in the ability to say, "I don't know how this will turn out, and I can still be okay." That's emotional freedom. And it's not built by thinking more, it's built by learning to pause, to check in with yourself first before reacting, to choose curiosity over judgment, to say, "I feel overwhelmed right now. What do I need?" Instead of, "I need to figure everything out right now or else something bad will happen." This is how you begin to rewrite the script your nervous system has followed for years. And yes, there will be setbacks. You'll have days where the old patterns return, where your brain races ahead, trying to predict every outcome, where you still send the double text, still apologize too much, still can't sleep because your mind is rewatching a 3-second interaction on loop. That's okay. Because healing isn't linear, and safety isn't a finish line. It's a practice. Each time you catch the loop and breathe instead, you are interrupting a decades-old cycle. Each time you respond to yourself with compassion instead of criticism, you're teaching your body something new, that you are no longer in danger, that you don't need to be perfect to be loved, that you don't have to perform calm, you can experience it, even if only for 5 seconds at a time. That's still healing. So this week, maybe don't try to stop overthinking altogether. Maybe don't treat your mind like a problem to be silenced. Instead, ask it, "What are you trying to protect me from?" And then ask your body, "What would help me feel a little safer right now?" Sometimes the answers are simple: a walk, a hug, a glass of water, a nap, slower music, fewer tabs open, less caffeine. One deep breath where you actually feel it enter, hold, and release. Not everything needs to be solved. Some things just need to be felt, then let go. And if you can't let go yet, that's okay too. Holding on is what got you here. And now, slowly, you're learning what it means to rest. You're not overthinking. You're responding to a nervous system that has been in survival mode for too long. And your job now isn't to punish that. It's to understand it, to thank it, and then to gently, consistently remind it, you're safe now. Even if the old thoughts return, even if the muscles stay tight some days, even if your brain still prepares for the worst, you can still choose softness, still breath, still choose to answer fear with kindness instead of urgency. Maybe you'll always think a little more than others. Maybe you'll always feel a little deeper. That's not something to fix. That's part of your wisdom. But your thoughts don't have to scare you anymore. They don't have to run the whole show. They can walk beside you, like children in the back seat, chatting, curious, sometimes loud, but no longer driving the car. You are the one holding the wheel now, and you're heading somewhere softer. I'll see you next one.